Welcome into Eye on Northeast Kansas, the podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Bruner. This is where we recap some of the top topics we've discussed on Eye on Northeast Kansas, the TV show. You can catch it coming to you streaming live, 4 o'clock Central Time, Monday through Friday from our WIBW studios in Topeka, Kansas. You might have seen a lot of studies lately, headlines saying just how much more of a salary you need to earn these days in order to be able to afford a home. Well, the month of June was Homeownership Month, and our Sunflower Association of Realtors, it's the group of realtors representing the Topeka area, they wanted to come on and talk about the things that they can offer to assist people in achieving that dream of home ownership. But they also touched on just their reaction when they see those studies, because they say the reality is it depends where you live, and if you find a good realtor, it may not be exactly what it seems. Amanda Lewis and Mark Ent filled us in on the topic. Mark, you're with the Sunflower Association of Realtors. You are with, Amanda, who?
The Sunflower MLS,
okay,
which is associated with the Sunflower Association of Realtors.
All right, so this is Homeowners Month. We hear a lot about the market, and we're hearing all these studies come out that talk about just how much you have to make to even be able to afford a home. What do you want people to know when they see those headlines?
I want them to know that Topeka is different. We are more affordable. So our average price right now in Shawnee County is only about $185,000. So a lot different than some of those national studies that include the bigger states such as New York, California, where prices are way higher than they are here in the Midwest.
Everybody took that jump during COVID, though. So what is the market looking like now? Have we kind of leveled out? I mean, we heard these stories of people being offered $40,000, $50,000 above what they were even asking because people were trying to get in.
Inventory is still tight, but there's still a lot of demand out there with buyers. We are seeing a few more listings come on, so a few more choices for those people that are looking. Interest rates have kind of stabilized a little bit. We don't know if they're going down. We don't have our crystal ball. But overall, the market is loosening a little bit, but it's still pretty competitive in some certain price ranges.
So what is the variety of homes that are available out there, Mark? And if you're in the market for your first home for the first time, what's the first thing you need to do?
You need to find a trusted realtor, first of all. The second,
like you.
Yes, absolutely. And you can go to our website on sunflowerrealtors.com, and there's a list of all the members on there. The second thing you need to do is get pre-approved with a good lender. There are a lot of lenders that have good first-time homebuyer programs with grant money that's available.
How does that help to do that step first instead of just looking and seeing and then saying, okay, this is what I love, and then going to the bank?
Well, they can get an idea of what they can afford or where they would like their payment to be. So we're not just out looking at homes that they can't afford.
How much help is there for a first-time home buyer?
Some of the grant programs, the one that's the biggest is out of money already. It ended, I want to say April, and that gave almost $10,000 towards your down payment and your closing costs. There are still grant programs available about $5,000, so it's still a substantial amount of money to help a buyer.
So always ask, and of course, like you said, going and getting pre-approved helps you know what you can afford and kind of focus that search. What other things have been done to help homeowners recently?
So actually before that, before you even go and you search and maybe you're not quite ready, you don't have your down payment yet, Kansas does have a first-time homebuyer savings program. So you can go to any financial institution, you can earmark a first-time homebuyer savings account. There's a certain amount you can add each year. There are financial or tax incentives for that. So it's
so
a
even
good
if
idea.
you're thinking about it, if you're just a college student and know someday you want to own a home, get started now.
And somebody could name you a beneficiary, so you could start at any time to start saving for your first house.
What about legislative changes, law changes that lawmakers did recently?
Well, the governor just passed the tax relief and policy changes in June. It does provide its...
that was the special session bill?
Yes, and it was some exemptions for appraised valuation from the mill. So it does give homeowners a small break.
And also, I know there was some debate over covenants and things like that were happening. What were those and what changed?
So they just removed some of like the racially restrictive covenants that are very old that really violate fair housing. So those covenants have been removed from any like title policy or description or any covenants in neighborhoods, stuff like that.
Obviously, you all are realtors, so you want people to be exploring buying a home. But really, what do you want people, because there kind of had been a trend that people were more content to rent, whether that be because of the prices that were happening, everything that was going kind of back and forth and really out of control with the market during COVID. Why would you recommend people look into buying a home?
Well, it's a great investment. First of all, property values continue to rise and they will continue to do so. It's one of the few things that you can count on. Unlike a car, when you buy that, you drive it off the lot and it loses value. Your home will retain value forever.
And the stories that we're hearing about the market, just to reinforce again, I mean, is there only a certain income level that is left on the market, or are there plenty of those homes in that starter range?
I would say we're in a shortage of homes still. I pulled the stats right before we came on, and there were only 172 active homes in the Shawnee County area. Our normal market is about 400 to 500.
Right. But to compare, during COVID, there were only literally during the shutdown and everything, there were only about 50 homes on the market. So we're starting to climb. We're climbing back up to pre-COVID numbers.
Well, I do want to pass these resources along again. So sunflowerrealtors.com can help you find a realtor, and then those first-time homebuyer savings account. Go to kansascash.ks.gov/homebuyer.html. That HTML is very important, otherwise you'll get an error. I learned that. I'll have those links on WIBW.com. Amanda, Mark, thank you so very much for being here and filling us in on some of the things that are out there. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Again, in the Topeka area, it's the Sunflower Association of Realtors. There is probably a similar organization where you live. Reach out, ask for help, and get guided through the process. We have been introducing you to candidates on Eye on Northeast Kansas. As promised, you will be hearing from all 5 Republicans and 2 Democrats who are seeking their respective parties' nominations in the Kansas 2nd Congressional District. That seat is open this time around because the incumbent, Jake LaTurner, opted not to seek re-election. And he didn't make that announcement until relatively late in the game. People really didn't know it until this spring. And so this large group turned out to join the race. Last time you heard from Chad Young. He was the first of the Republican candidates to pay us a visit. We had 2 more of the GOP hopefuls visit. Let's start now by hearing from Michael Ogle. Welcome to you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Why did you decide to pursue this seat, Michael?
I believe that right now we need congressional term limits, and if you want congressional term limits without a constitutional convention, we're going to have to start sending candidates to Washington that want congressional term limits. I think we need to pursue American energy independence through American oil and American oil production, and anything that we can do to secure American energy independence is a good thing. We need to secure the economy for Americans based off that. We just got out of a 20-year war in Afghanistan. We didn't get out because it was the right thing to do. We got out to let China in to mine lithium. China's buying up swaths of land the size of Nebraska and Africa to mine lithium. Mining lithium is not a green process, and that lithium is coming back over here to put in green cars. So what we need to do is ensure that our economy can be secured with American jobs through American energy independence and secure American exceptionalism.
What is your background that led you to this point?
Well, I was an infantry officer in the Kansas Army National Guard. I'm an Operation Enduring Freedom veteran. I retired as a major, and I served in the Horn of Africa. We did some border control stuff. We observed the French Foreign Legion do border control stuff. So the border is an issue that I have some experience. Securing a border is an issue I have some experience in. That we do need to secure the border, but just being an American officer, an American infantry officer, looking at the challenges that veterans have faced coming home from these conflicts, as a Veterans of Foreign Wars service officer, has really inspired me to run for office. There's a lot we need to do to make sure that our American soldiers, veterans are taken care of, and a lot we need to do to make sure that if we do put Americans in harm's way in the future, that it's done the right way and we're doing good by American soldiers and veterans.
There's already been a lot of talk amongst the Republican candidates invoking the name of Donald Trump. And it seems a lot are trying to align themselves with Donald Trump and his policies and whether or not they're supported by him. Where do you fall in terms of your support of Donald Trump and how much you'd like to align yourself with his views?
Well, I think Make America Great Again is a great slogan. America has been and always is a great nation. I tend to think that every day we go into the next great day in America. The thing about it is I want to create opportunity for Americans so that your slice of America, your slice, what you want from this country, your dream is, I want you to be able to achieve it here.
I do want to ask you about one thing in your background, Michael, and you've talked about this before, that there is a felony conviction in your past, aggravated domestic battery. Why do you feel that that is or is not something that should apply to your candidacy and be something that voters should look at?
Well, I think it should be a positive because, you come back, you have some PTSD issues, you have medication issues that make you angry. that led to some substance abuse issues. And the reality is if we keep ruling people out of positions after they've recovered and they've done the right things to recover, we're never going to get people that have been through those experiences and can govern from having bad experiences. And I'll tell you what, the race only makes national news if I win, right? So because anybody else doesn't have the background I've got. So I think it's a positive for Kansas, and it's a positive for America. If I win, your candidate pool gets bigger, and a lot more people will say, I'm going to take the hit too, and I'm going to jump in the game, and I'm going to try and help out America.
Let me ask you real quick to go back to the border for a moment. You said you had some experience observing
Sure.
how other countries do it. What specifically do you think can be done with our border or should be done with our border? And where do you fall in line of striking a balance? Should anyone be given a path to citizenship, or how do we let people in the country?
I think we should be able, and this goes along with the opportunity piece, American opportunity through American energy. If you can come here and be an asset, absolutely come here. We can't have people coming to strike off the welfare rolls and to suck off American resources. But what we should do is absolutely use our American military to destroy the smugglers, the coyotes, the drug smugglers that are coming here. We should use our foreign internal defense assets, which is the U.S. Special Forces, to build solid cities in Mexico so that they can resist that kind of activity, criminality. And we should use Gray Eagle assets and also use the National Guard to secure the border. And I'm not 100% sure what I think that should look like right now. But what I do want to be done at the border is for it to be done humanely. We do have a crisis. It needs to be handled humanely. And I don't want people 20, 50 years from now, 100 years from now thinking Americans were the bad guy, because we do have a problem to solve and we need to do it correctly.
Michael Ogle seeking the Republican nomination in District 2, the second of 5 candidates. The other 3 will be here in the weeks ahead. Appreciate your time. Thank you for that. That's Michael Ogle. One of the other candidates who visited us is Jeff Kahrs. Here's where he stands. So welcome to you. Good to have you here.
Good to be here, Melissa.
It is a 5-way race. How do you set yourself apart from the others who are running?
Well, I'm the consistent conservative in this race. As you know, Melissa, for the last 3 years, I've worked for Jake LaTurner. I was his district director. I was his senior advisor. I've been running his constituent services operations here back in the state. But the big difference is I'm the grassroots conservative. I've worked for President Trump. He appointed me in his last administration. So I'm the only conservative that's actually worked for the president, that's helped implement the president's plan. And there's a big difference between the other 2 main opponents. One of them voted with Democrats when he was in the state Senate, and the other one endorsed Democrats when he headed up a large trade association. So that sets me apart right there.
You mentioned the relationship with former President Donald Trump, and I've been asking everybody about this. Where do you align yourself in terms of his policies? Is it lockstep with him, or where might we see differences?
Oh, it's total lockstep. Like I just said, I worked in his first administration. He was impressed with the work that we did with Governor Brownback with welfare reform, where we cut welfare rolls in half through my leadership under Governor Brownback, and he offered me the job to come and oversee HHS in the Midwest region. So I'm 100% with the president. I'm an American First Republican in this race, and he's going to need loyal conservative foot soldiers like myself, because he's going to have tough decisions he's going to need to make when he gets into Washington in January, and I look forward to helping him implement his agenda.
What is the issue that spurred you into this race yourself?
Really, we got a lot of encouragement when Jake announced he wasn't going to run again. My wife and I, we prayed about it. We felt like this is something we needed to do because I think many of your viewers understand that our country's in trouble. And I'm hopeful that President Trump is going to get elected to office and go to work to try to make this country great again.
How do you feel we're in trouble?
Oh, we're in trouble. Well, look at our border first of all. And I've knocked on several doors. We have, tons of volunteers that are out there knocking on doors throughout the 26 counties. And what we hear first and foremost is the border crisis and, of course, our economy and the inflation that's taken place. But we have an open border now. And we have thousands of terrorists that are coming into our country, military combatants, and other types of criminals. And my position has been very clear on the border, unlike my opponents. We have to secure the border. We have to use the military to lock down the border. We have to finish the wall. And then we have to gather up all the illegals, all the criminals, all the terrorists, and deport them immediately out of our country.
Do you find any middle ground when it comes to the immigration issue, though? Are there any circumstances where you feel people should be allowed in the country or be allowed to stay in the country? And how does that process work?
I'm all for legal immigration, but no, if you're here illegally, you do not have a right to be here. We have a long line of people that are doing it the right way, doing it the legal way, and that's the way to do it. But absolutely no. I'm very clear on this position.
What role can the federal government play in reducing inflation? If we are a nation of free enterprise, businesses being able to take the actions they want and succeed or fail based on their actions, what can the government do to step in and stop
You bet.
the prices?
Well, first and foremost, the government can stop spending money it doesn't have on programs that we don't need. Inflation is basically brought about because we're printing way too many dollars. Congress has to get the budget under control. I don't support earmarks. I don't support omnibus appropriations bills. We have to look at the federal agency. We don't need a Department of Education. We don't need a Department of Commerce. This good stuff that they do, we can send to the states and have it that way. So we have to do a comprehensive review of our budget from top to bottom. We're going to be at $50 trillion in debt by the end of this decade if we don't do something.
Without a Department of Education, how do we ensure that there is a quality education standard nationwide?
Well, the qualities need to be set state by state. The good things that the Department of Education is doing, if there is any of that, we can send that to the states. But education needs to be handled at the local level, at the state level. The parents need to be involved, engaged, and in large part in charge of the education that their kids are receiving.
How do you prevent that from becoming a political hot button then, in terms of decisions being made, maybe not with the head, but with the heart and whatever the spur of the moment emotion is?
Well, I trust locals. I trust our local school boards. I trust our state school boards to make those type of decisions. As long as the parents, as long as those that are putting their kids in the public school system have a role to play, are fully engaged, and are able to make the decisions that are best for their children.
A lot of issues in this campaign, a lot of people running. So Jeff Kahrs, we appreciate you paying us a visit and letting us hear where you stand on some of those issues. We'll be hearing more from you as we head toward the August primary election day. So that makes 3. Chad Young, Michael Ogle, Jeff Kahrs, Derek Schmidt, and Sean Tiffany are scheduled on the show in the coming week, so we'll be bringing you that on the next podcast. Now for a little fun. Visit Topeka launched a new campaign recently. It has to do with Find Yourself, Be Yourself in Topeka. It features an original composition written by a Broadway composer. Sadly, it would be the last composition, among the last works that he wrote as he passed away. His partner, Michael McGowan, visited Ion, Northeast Kansas with their daughter, Elliot. Visit Topeka's Sean Dixon joined them, and here's the story that they shared. Visit Topeka's latest campaign celebrates the city's inclusivity through an original song. Sadly, it would be among the last works written by Broadway composer Steven Lutvak. Steven's husband, Michael McGowan, heard all about the city and now is here to see it for himself. He brought along their daughter, Elliot. Sean Dixon with Visit Topeka is here as well. So welcome to the capital city to both of you. Elliot was telling me her age. You are how old?
7 3/4.
7 3/4. Remember that 3/4. How much did you hear about Topeka? And you had never been here before now?
This is our first time. This is our first time. We're so excited to be here. Yes, Steven had told us a great deal about his experience here in Topeka and the influences that really gave him the creative juices to make this song.
How did it become more than a job? Because when someone approaches you with, we have an assignment for you, you're going to write a song about Topeka, a place you've never been, and we want it to be really good and showcase all the good things.
Everything with Steven was more than a job. He really took so much joy in all of the work he was making, whether it was for the Broadway show that did make it to Broadway, the 5 musicals that he was working on before he passed, and making this song for Topeka. Everything meant a great deal to him, and he took it all very seriously.
Now, maybe not everyone has seen it or is familiar with it, but it is the centerpiece of Visit Topeka's latest campaign. So we want to share just a little snippet with you right now.
And it's a perfect place to see it.
Yourself in Topeka. Come visit Topeka. Give us just one day. And when you visit Topeka, you might decide to stay.
That, of course, is our friend, Topeka native and Broadway talent, Jeff Crady, his equally talented wife, Nikki Renee Daniels, and his adorable daughters. So that was so fun, Sean. Why this concept for this campaign?
You know, we're always trying to marry a couple things when we're promoting a city. You know, interesting people doing interesting things in interesting places, and you really want to emphasize that interesting. So, you know, our competitors are sort of subset of what we do in the industry may look at radio jingles or ad agency work. We really want to do something unique that capitalized on the talent that was from here, that was doing great things from here. So early on, we reached out to Jeff and said, Jeff, we've got this weird idea. You may have the connections to get it done. And he did. And he reached out to Steven and told us he was reaching out to Steven, which we thought, okay, we've got this amazing lyricist and writer that had done A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, which won the Tony, and he's going to do a song for us. Okay, well, it ended up, he fell in love with the project, and we fell in love with Steven and had the opportunity to bring him here and show someone who is a lifelong New Yorker who we are in the Midwest, who we are in Kansas, and who we are in Topeka. And the song was what that inspiration led to, and we're very proud of it and very proud of what he's able to do for us.
When you listen to it, what does it mean to you?
You know, we had so many conversations about how this really was connected to the family that we were developing and raising. And we live in New York City, where there's a bit of a bubble around all things. And certainly a real push for diversity and inclusivity to hear that was happening in a place like Topeka was thrilling.
Did they maybe come into it with some misconceptions? I mean, it is Midwest, it is a big small town, as it were.
No, I think in fact it was the opposite. I think because of that, that deepened Steven's commitment even more.
To really showcase it. Where have you been so far today?
Well, our plane was a wee bit delayed.
So you've been here?
Yes, so we really have been here. We had a lovely lunch this afternoon, and we're really looking forward to everything that we're going to get to see.
Where are you going to show them? What are you going to show off?
They'll be at Evergy Plaza tonight, enjoying all
Eats and
the
Beats?
festivities. Yep, enjoying Eats and Beats, and honestly relaxing. They've had a full day of traveling, so we've got them doing this, but then they'll be able to sort of enjoy themselves tonight downtown. And then we've got some attractions and things lined up, Brown v. Board, Ted Ensley Gardens, and just really show them the fun stuff that we love. And the zoo is on there as well.
Hopefully not a tornado. Fingers crossed. Thank you both. Welcome. Enjoy your stay. Glad to have you here. You can view the campaign as well as the latest Visit Topeka Visitor's Guide when you head to their website. A lot of great information about our great capital city area. We do have local theater to bring you as well. Topeka Civic Theatre recently announced the lineup it has in store for their 2024-25 season. Shannon Riley and Aimee Rose now had the big reveal. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
I'm excited by the list. So when you're crafting it though, Aimee, what are you all keeping in mind?
Well, the play reading committee does a lot of hard work, and they're already starting for the 2025-2026 season, which is crazy to say, but they read hundreds of plays, and they look for the things that are going to bring people in and get people involved in theater.
Okay, so main stage, and we can put up the graphic as Shannon kind of tells us about it, because these are the main stage shows. You have, what, 3 musicals and...
3 musicals and then 5 plays, and it's a wonderful eclectic mixture. We start with Jersey Boys, which is a really fascinating and wonderful new musical. And then we go into The Haunting of Hill House, perfect for Halloween. We have a great comedy murder mystery for Christmas called
The Games Afoot.
The Games Afoot. I didn't have my glasses.
Homes for the Holiday.
Homes for the Holiday. Unnecessary Farce is a hilarious show about a sting gone wrong. Waitress is a worldwide phenomenon.
Oh, I love it.
Great musical. We're going to follow it up with I'm surprised we've never done this classic, but it's Cyrano de Bergerac, a brand new version of it, Cyrano, and it's an American adaptation. And then we have Clue, which we are very excited about. We wanted to do it last year. And a brand new musical called Groundhog Day, based on the funny Bill Murray film. It's hilarious. Great musical.
I mean, Bill Murray comes to Manhattan from time to time, so maybe
He
you
might
could get him
drop
to
by.
stop in and just, it'll be like yesterday all over again for him. How much, to look at these shows, what does that say about the talent we have in Topeka? That you can say, we have the folks who can pull these off.
The talent is immense. And what's really fascinating to me is that we're known for it. That when I talk to these royalty houses in New York and I'm saying what shows I want to do, they think of TCT as being one of the top places to put their shows.
I mean, you're getting
Groundhog
Groundhog
be done well.
and you're getting
We're one of the first ones to
Waitress.
do Waitress. We're the first ones to do Groundhog. And Jersey Boys was just released to community theaters, and we're one of the first to get it as well.
Now, it's not just main stage, Aimee. There's a lot going on for Shuffle and for the kids. What are a couple of those highlights? It's a long list, so I know we can't go through everything. But
At the Academy, they're going to open with Willy Wonka Jr., so a lot of kids are really excited about that. It's a musical. And we have The Hobbit. We have some TYAs coming up that kids will really love, like Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. So there's some really fun and well-known names there, too.
how do kids get involved in taking the first step in being selected for a show or auditioning for a show?
We always like to encourage kids to audition, but we also have camps and classes available. So if they just want to give it a try without that, feeling, the classes and camps kind of drop the mystique from the auditions, and it gets them more comfortable. And my kids did it that way too, and they just love theater now and can't get enough. So it's a great way to start.
Yes, and how important is it, Shannon, to have a list of shows that are interesting in order to keep the community involved? Because honestly, you can't do these shows if you don't have people willing to volunteer their time and spend nights rehearsing.
Or even just coming to see them.
Yes,
and
that
being
too.
in the audience as well. So one of the things I've always been proud about TCT, and it's the thing that attracted me to the theater when I first met TCT, is how eclectic the seasons were. The wide variety of things. And also our season membership is set up that you buy 8 shows, but you're actually buying 8 tickets. You don't have to see all 8 shows. You can bundle it in any way you want to bundle it. And we're one of the only theaters that does that.
Bundling's good. Bundling's good. So we put up the list again so that you can see one more time, because those tickets are on sale already, guys.
You bet.
Already. TopekaCivicTheatre.com. You can see not just the main stage shows, but see the whole list of things that are planned for the 2024-2025 season. Obviously, you can tell by that it is going to be a great one. What's on stage right now, guys?
We're about to open Tootsie this Friday. Tootsie, the musical based on the film from 1982 with Dustin Hoffman. Hilarious.
Okay, well, that's the same place to get tickets for that. Aimee, Shannon, thank you. And just a quick point of clarification, the season tickets are on sale right now. The season ticket packages, the individual show tickets will come a little bit later, but if you want to get in the door, you get your foot in the door, you get the first choice by having a season ticket package, now is the time to do it. So much fun in store, and let me tell you, some very talented individuals in the Topeka area. Hope you enjoyed these guests. You can see the video from them and all the guests that come through our studio when you go to WIBW.com. Just click the Eye on Northeast Kansas page. You can also find a whole playlist on our WIBW 13 News YouTube channel. Be sure to click subscribe while you're there. You also find the links every day along with our studio selfies for a little behind the scenes glimpse on my Facebook page. That's WIBW Melissa Bruner. Glad to have you along. Until next time, we'll see you on the red couch.